Hello everyone, welcome to my channel. Please subscribe and keep watching more details. Judge gives go-ahead to dig into Andy Cohen private recordings. The drama continues to unfold at Bravo with Andy Cohen. Leah McSweeney's attorney has asked to dive into private recordings and documents related to the cast against the Watch What Happens live host. They plan to set up under-oath interviews with all the people tied to the case, and the judge has given them the go-ahead. Here's what that means for Andy Cohen. Leah McSweeney is suing Bravo and Andy Cohen for things she experienced while working with the network. She claims that they tried to make her fall off the wagon while she was filming for two of the network shows, Real Housewives of New York City and Real Housewives, Ultimate Girls Trip. Andy Cohen is listed as an executive producer on both programs, and the Real Housewives star named him as one of the main perpetrators. In her lawsuit, which was filed in February, Leah said that producers wanted her to be unpredictable, citing better ratings as the reason why. According to Leah, producers intentionally undermined her sobriety time and time again. Eventually, she started to drink again. Her suit also claims that Andy Cohen did cocaine with some of the Real Housewives stars. At this point, Andy has denied all of the allegations being made against him. Attorneys for Andy Cohen and Bravo previously asked a judge to dismiss the lawsuit altogether. They also pushed for Leah's lawyers to be prevented from starting the discovery period, which is where they can begin to gather evidence. Now, a judge has determined that Leah McSweeney's lawyers will be allowed to dive into personal files and recordings that might help prove her claims. This will allow her to gather evidence until the judge decides whether or not to dismiss the case. In addition to suing Bravo and Andy Cohen, the Real Housewives of New York City alum has also filed a lawsuit against Shed Media, which produces the Bravo show. She's also filed suit against NBC Universal, which owns Bravo, and Warner Bros., which owns Shed. These aren't the only allegations being made against Andy Cohen and Bravo at this point in time. Not long ago, fellow Real Housewives alum Brandi Glanville came forward about some disturbing messages she received from the Bravo exec. Brandi revealed video messages that showed Andy asking her if she wanted to watch him have sex. In the clips, she said that Andy was visibly drunk and was accompanied by below-deck star Kate Chastain. Since the videos were released to the media, Andy Cohen has come forward apologizing, stating that his behavior was inappropriate. However, he maintains that everything he said was in jest and that Brandi Glanville knew that. What do you think about the Bravo/Andy Cohen drama? Let us know in the comments below. In a surprising turn of events, the courtroom buzzed with anticipation as Judge Elizabeth Carter leaned forward, her gavel resting lightly on the bench before her. A decision that could reshape the narrative around one of television's most influential figures was about to be made. The case had drawn a media frenzy unlike anything seen in recent memory, centered on the legal battle over access to private recordings belonging to none other than Bravo's kingpin, Andy Cohen. For weeks, Cohen's legal team had worked tirelessly to block the opposition from gaining access to years of behind-the-scenes footage and personal conversations, arguing that they were irrelevant and protected by privacy laws. But today, that argument would be put to the test. Judge Carter, a no-nonsense figure known for her keen sense of fairness and unflinching approach to high-profile cases, scanned the room. The tension was palpable. On one side, Cohen's defense team, a wall of impeccably dressed attorneys, sat with their jaws tight, clearly bracing for impact. Across from them, the plaintiff's lawyers, looking more relaxed than they had in days, wore the confident smirks of a group on the cusp of victory. This case has been debated long enough, Judge Carter began, her voice carrying the gravitas of the decision she was about to hand down. And after careful consideration of both the legal rights to privacy and the potential relevance of the materials requested, the court finds that the motion to access Mr. Cohen's private recordings is granted. A wave of murmurs swept through the courtroom as gasps echoed from the gallery. Cohen's team immediately sprang to life, hurried whispers passing between them as they plotted their next move. But for now, the judge had spoken. The door was officially open to a treasure trove of raw, unedited footage and private exchanges that could lay bare secrets Cohen had long kept hidden from the public eye. The plaintiffs, a group of disgruntled former Bravo employees, had long claimed that certain unaired conversations between Cohen and the network stars contained evidence of unethical behavior, backdoor deals, and potentially illegal activities. For years, these claims had been brushed off as baseless accusations from former staffers with axes to grind. But now, with access to the recordings, they had the potential to expose what really happened when the cameras weren't rolling, or rather, when Cohen thought they weren't rolling for the public. The recordings in question spanned over a decade, covering everything from the explosive reunions of Bravo's biggest reality shows to private one-on-one interviews that had never seen the light of day. While most viewers were familiar with Cohen's polished public persona as the quick-witted, charming host of Watch What Happens Live, these recordings offered a different perspective. They promised unguarded moments where the line between TV persona and the real Andy Cohen blurred. The question on everyone's mind was simple: what did Andy Cohen have to hide? As the courtroom cleared, speculation erupted across social media. Would these recordings reveal the true power dynamics behind Bravo's most popular shows? Could there be explosive conversations with housewives and celebrities that contradicted the public narratives fans had come to believe? And most importantly, would Cohen's reputation emerge unscathed, or would this prove to be the scandal that toppled the reality TV empire he had so carefully cultivated? For Cohen, the stakes couldn't have been higher. He had been the architect behind some of the most iconic reality TV moments of the past 2 decades, a producer and host who had built Bravo into a cultural phenomenon. From the Real Housewives franchise to Below Deck, he had turned messy, chaotic drama into must-see television, making stars out of ordinary people and creating a platform that blurred the line between fame and infamy. And through it all, he had maintained an image of playful irreverence, a man in on the joke, both a puppet master and a ringleader in the circus he created. But now, the very thing that had made him successful, his ability to get people to reveal their deepest, darkest secrets on camera, was threatening to undo him. Back in the offices of his legal team, Cohen sat in silence, his hands folded in front of him. His normally expressive face was unreadable. He had known this day might come, had anticipated the legal challenges that came with being at the center of so much high-stakes television drama. But he hadn't expected it to unfold like this. "They'll go after everything," his lead attorney, Mark Halpern, said, breaking the silence. "We can appeal the decision, but that will take time. In the meantime, we have to be prepared for them to comb through years of footage." Cohen nodded slowly. "What are they really looking for?" he asked, though he already knew the answer. The plaintiffs weren't interested in petty gossip or minor scandals. They were digging for something bigger, proof of manipulation, evidence of contracts that had been bent or broken, whispers of misconduct that could turn the tide of public opinion against him. Halpern sighed. "It's hard to say, but they'll want to find something they can use to damage your credibility. If they can prove you've been less than honest, if there's even a hint that you've acted unethically, it'll be a media firestorm." Cohen leaned back in his chair, his mind racing. Over the years, he had amassed a vast network of connections, had built an empire on the backs of reality stars who owed their fame, and sometimes their fortunes, to him. But those relationships were complicated, fraught with the kind of tension that only reality television could produce. The housewives, the crew members, the executives, they all had their own agendas, and now some of them were lining up against him. "I've made a lot of people rich," he said, more to himself than to anyone else. "But I've also made a lot of enemies." The weeks ahead promised to be tumultuous. As the recordings were reviewed, transcribed, and dissected, the world would be watching, waiting to see if the man behind Bravo's curtain could survive the storm. And as the legal team dispersed, preparing for the next stage of the battle, Andy Cohen couldn't help but wonder how much of his legacy would be left standing when the dust finally settled.